Hello crafters, I'm Jan B and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. I showed it on my blog recently and I was asked if I would show how I did it, and of course I'll be absolutely delighted. I'm going to change the colour scheme and also the design here. The colour scheme I'm using is going to be Poppy Red, Poppy Parade, one of our new colours. This colour just about went out when I joined Stampin' Up. Beautiful red, love it. Right, so to start off with, the card pieces that you're going to be needing. You need a card base which is 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored and folded at 4 1/8, or centimetres, it's 21 centimetres by 14.5, scored and folded at 10.5. Then you need 2 pieces of Whisper White, which both measure 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 9.7 by 14 centimetres. And then you should have 1 layer of Poppy Parade, which measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 3/8 inches, which is 9.4 by 13.7 centimetres. And then you need 3 pieces like this. I've already prepared 2 of them, but you need 3 pieces that measure 1 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inch. No, sorry, 1 1/4 inch by 5 3/8 inches, which is 3.2 by 13.7 centimeters. Then you need another piece, and this measures 1 1/2 inches, so it's just a little bit wider than that one. 1 1/2 inches by 5 3/8 inches, which is 3.8 by 13.7 centimeters. You need a small scrap for the sentiment, and then you need whichever design you're going to use out of what I call the bookmarks. This is from the Graceful Glass 6x6 designer vellum paper, designer vellum pack. I don't know, designer vellum. Anyway, it is the most fantastic pack of designer papers, and they're all vellum. They are just so beautiful. Do check them out if you haven't seen them in the catalogue already. I've been working with quite a few of these recently. Technique that I showed on my last video was actually doing dry embossing on the video on this on the vellum. This is the only one I have with me, which I haven't shown anybody yet. It's the same design as that one, but that's a dry embossing. I wouldn't recommend to do this with this particular design because I found it a real fiddle trying to get the bits together. It's much easier if you're using the paper one. The problem being that it's difficult to get vellum to adhere down without the glue showing through. Okay, so that's what made that a little bit of an effort, and why, although I'm happy with it, it looks good, I wouldn't particularly recommend it. I am on a little bit of a wing and a prayer with today's card because I don't have, in fact I don't even know if they're doing them, I don't have Poppy Parade in my Stampin' blends. I have tried to see what Cherry Cobbler comes up like, and it's quite close, so I'm going to be using this. I'm also using Old Olive. So first of all, I am going to do this, and I'll do the stamping as well, and then I'm going to move on to the Big Shot. So let me just get a piece of scrap paper. I recommend that you use Stampin' blends on vellum, although I prefer the marker pens, and I think that they take much deeper colours. It's very easy to smudge them, and I've ruined work because of it. If you insist on using marker pens, which you can, just make sure that, for example, if you do all your flowers and you work your way down, then you've got to go back up again to do the leaves, so you're going to be going over what you've already painted. Just make sure that you've got a piece of kitchen roll covering what you've already done, because that will help to dry that bit out, and as long as you keep it still, it will stop the smudging underneath, and then you can do your leaves and then gradually lift it up and pull it down as you go. I would just check to make sure that you haven't got too much on here. If you have got more on here, when you bring it down, move it over so you're putting a clean piece back down. After all that, it's just much easier to use stamping blends, which is what I'm going to do. And they do dry much quicker. Now what I've done is I'm turning this over, so I've got the back of this. I know that I could have painted this beforehand, but I have built my reputation on not skipping steps with my videos. And I did choose one of these designs that hasn't got much in it, so it won't take a few minutes to do. Something that I was doing the other day, I think it was the dry embossing, I said that to do start from finish it took me about 25 minutes, and on that one I had actually done, which one was it? I think it was the line with the birds on, so I'd actually done all of one, and then for the video just did two. But this is only going to take a matter of minutes, certainly not 25. This red sort of looks like a pink to me, and Poppy Parade is a real red. But I think it's going to work. Well, you and I are going to find out together whether it's going to work or not. Right, so that's the red. Oops, don't draw on yourself. Now, just in case that's wet, I'm going to put that on there. Obviously, another way of doing this to avoid this happening is to keep changing your colour and just work your way down. Like do your green there and then do the red. Because you're painting from the back, as long as you stay inside the lines, it doesn't matter if you go over the lines that are inside, like that centre line there, you just paint straight over it. I don't try and do any kind of shading with this, but you could do. Okay, so that's that. Let's move that over there. Put this away. I'm going to put that aside to be drying while I stamp this. Now the stamp is coming from Birthday Poses, and I have used this an awful lot recently. I really ought to hide this stamp set for a while, I think. And I'll show you a tip about this. I saw this by an American demo called Brenda Quintana, and what she does is she puts her stamp pad down like that and just pushes that down. So if you have a problem, you may want to try that. I don't have any problems with mine, so I'm okay, but I thought it was a brilliant tip. Right, let's put that up there. As I've said before, if I get in a mess with the colour, it's always red. Right, so put that aside, because that's fussy cutting, I'm afraid. But it's very easy. Now I am going to bring my Big Shot up, And the first thing that I'm going to do, in fact, let's put that under there. I don't think I need it again. I'm going to dry emboss my red piece, this one here, using my dynamic basket weave embossing folder. And what I need for this is my normal platform, my Big Shot platform, but without the thin die adapter. Okay, so just the Big Shot platform. And I'll only be needing one cutting mat. When you do embossing with our dynamic folders, it is much better if you spray your cardstock first. Apparently it helps to stretch the fibres so that they don't get damaged with such the deep impressions that these folders are. As you can see, they really are quite thick. Obviously I can't show you me squeezing this, so you'll hear it. I'll do one at the front, one at the back. That's it. I think you can see that, can't you? So just going to pop that in here, make sure I get it straight. Let's do it that side. Doesn't matter which side you do it. Just check. Yes, that looks straight. So put it so you've got the fold of the embossing folder going through the machine first. In fact, I've got a glass there, I've got my drink. The weather here at the moment is absolutely fabulous. So I'm drinking gallons of cold water at the moment. So there we go, that's my embossed piece. Absolutely gorgeous. I did use the back design once as well. I think that was on vellum when I did that. I embossed some vellum. Right, we don't need this now, so pop that one out of the way. Bring this mat. Now the sheet that I gave you, I said that you needed 3 of, that's this one. You need to die cut 3 of these. The dies I'm using are the delicate lace edgelets. You get 3 in the set, and that's what they die cut like. Absolutely beautiful, love them. One of these is going to be cut down to be used inside here, but if you wanted to use the third one in here down this side, you need to make one of these a quarter of an inch longer than what I told you. I decided to stick with the bit at the bottom because I thought it would be less confusing. Right, now what we need to do is get the base of the die to run along here so that you can just about see it, and also you want it so that it's evenly spaced across here. And what I look for is those 3 holes there and the same ones at the other end. Now they just come on to the white piece. So first of all, what did I say about red? Look at that. I don't know where that came from, but you can bet your bottom dollar I'll get it on something. Right, so I'm going to make sure, I'm using my thumb now there to push the die up against me. Tilt it a bit so I can see it. That's it, beautiful. That's moved away a bit. But yeah, because you want it straight, it'll be seen. Now that is about the same distance from that white bit. Can you see both of them? nope, let me turn this sideways. There we go. So those 3 dots are about the same distance from the edge there as these 3 are on this side. So just crank that through the big shot. And I do just bring it back again. I'm not sure it needs it, but it's got to come back this side anyway, so. That's all I need the big shot for. Let's move that. And I'm going to use my die brush. I just like to hold my die nice and firmly so it doesn't start jumping about and crushing the actual die cut. There we go. It's beautiful, isn't it? Really, really lovely. I normally get that bit and that bit left in there, so I'll tidy that up later. Right, that's all in the bin. So these are my other pieces. So what do I need to do? Let's do the bit inside the card first. By the way, on this one I put some ribbon down here, but I don't have red ribbon that's as narrow as that. I do have our real red, but I don't think it goes well enough for this. So what I've done is I have cut a piece of cardstock that's 1/8 of an inch wide, and this is the length of one of our A4 sheets, so 8 to 5.5. So I'm sure that you could do that with the American letter size as well, because you need to cut it in half, which would be 5.5, which is okay as long as you followed all my other sizing. So I'm just going to be using that. The best way to do this, to make sure that you've got it all the same, is just take a complete sheet and cut off one small slither. It's a lot easier than taking a thin strip about so wide and trying to get a narrow one off of it. Right, so what we are going to do first, I'm going to bring this in, and my other piece of Whisper White, this one, and I'm going to adhere this onto here like that. And because this, both on either side of that line down there, isn't going to be visible, that's where I'm going to put my glue. Right. Build it on here and then do that bit up. Build that bit up. Right, okay. So I'm going to use Tombow. I think. Right. As I say, the weather really is absolutely fabulous at the moment. But it does mean, oh, look at that, that's good. But it does mean, say, that even leaving the lid off of Tombow for a short while, it's drying up. Right. So I'm just going to put a little bit down the sides. I'm not going to do too much because I don't want it squirting on towards the inside. And I am going to put just a little bit on the base of each of these flowers. Tweezers. In fact, I didn't do any at the bottom there, did I? I didn't say what size to do this, did I? No, I didn't. This should be cut to 1.5 inches by 5 3/8 inches, which is the same size as the Whisper White piece, which is 3.8 by 13.7 centimetres. Mine's a little bit on the short side there. I don't know if you can see that. Yep, my Whisper White is short, but that's no problem because that's going to be covered. Right, so that needs to go onto there, and then once that's there we're going to adhere that on there, and that all of these should be the same length as this, the red, that Whisper White underneath, the bookmarker, and these three. So first of all I'm going to do this by measuring it up on my grid paper. Yep, I'm okay there. So that should be on that line there. Let me just draw a little pencil mark here so that you can see. If I go that one there and that one there. Okay. So there I know that I'm in the centre, and when I bring my bookmark over, that's going to be my centre line. Okay. Right. This I am going to put Tombow all over the back. But not thick. A light all over covering. There we go. And across here you've got 7 squares, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's that 4th square there, whichever way you're counting it from, that's the one that's the middle, which makes lining up even easier. You may notice that where I've cut my top off there, I've left those top little lines, but I cut it off down the bottom here, and I've left just a tiny little bit on the edge so that when I'm lining it up I can see that I've lined it up properly. You can see there's just tiny little bits there. I've got to trim it off, but that's okay. At least it means that I'm in with a chance of being straight. So that's that down nicely. Then I'm going to put one on either side of these, and I will have my scrap paper just in case I squeeze too much Tombow out and I need to blot it. Bad habit, keep putting Tombow down and not putting the lid on. Now because you've made these perfectly straight when you were lining them up to die cut them, they will be perfectly straight now, and you just line the edge up with the black line on there. I like to leave just that little bit black showing through. Now, some of my white is coming over the edge there, but that's okay, I'm not going to worry about that. So now I'm going to do the other one. And then before I put this onto my card, I will trim off the bits that are the wrong size. Okay, so again I'm going to line it up with this black line. There we go. Isn't that lace just absolutely gorgeous? It's got a pencil mark on that one. And that, but I'm going to be cutting that bit off. Okay, now I'm going to trim this off. That end is okay. Ooh, thick. Crikey, that was thick. So checking the design that I have there on my lace to that one, obviously this is a lot further down. This one is about the same. So that suggests that that's a bit, one side's longer than the other, but nobody will notice. Totally won't notice that. Now we need our thin strip. What did I do with that? There it is. Okay, so I'm going to take one piece, and what I did was I covered up the little stitch line there. You may decide that you don't want to, or you may decide you want it right against the edge there. That's quite nice, isn't it? I think I'm going to stick to the way I did it. So what I will do, shall I cut this in half to start with? I think I will. So this is UK, this will be 11 3/4. So that's 5 1/2. Methinks. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's fine. And that's fine, because I think this was 5 3/8 I said, didn't I? So you only need 5, 10 3/4. Now I'm using Tombow again. I imagine you could use snail, but it will come off the end. So I don't know quite what you do about that. Not being a big fan of snail, it's okay. It's just I prefer Tombow. So I'm just moving that over because I like to leave this white gap down here. There's that one. Tombow's being good to me. It's coming out quite slowly. That's what I like. This is always the answer if you don't have ribbon in the colour that you want. Oops. We do have ribbons in most of our colours, but we can't all have everything. Right, I've got a little bit of glue down there which I'll have to erase once it's all properly dried. So just trim off the ends. So now I'm going to adhere that to my white layer and then put the white layer inside my card. Oh, I've just got the sentiment to do, haven't I? So what have I done with my other white piece? There it is. Okay, let's do the one inside first. No, don't do the one inside first because you've got to be able to trim it off. Now I'm going to put Tombow on here. Just seeing if there's one bigger than the other. When I put this up against this a moment ago, it looks as if the margins were really quite small. Maybe not. Oops. I'll just come down a little bit. Forgotten what it's like to do this with Tombow. Yeah, I think that's okay. It's easier to tell when it's on another darker colour. I think that's okay. Let's just give it a good rub. Right, now I'm going to put this on the front of my card. So that's a top. Just get this centered. This is such a pretty red. There we go. I might need a bit more glue on there. In fact, I know what I'm going to do. I'm working on a self-healing cutting mat here, so I'm going to just slide it underneath to give Tombow a bit of encouragement there. And while that's happening, I'm going to take my other piece and I'm going to adhere this to it and then trim the edges off. I think this is too small for here. I said you need an extra 1/4 inch. Yes, you will do. I just didn't feel that it looked quite right, but you might like it. I'll show you what it looks like from the bottom anyway. So all I'm going to do is when I pop this on there, I'm going to have a look and do my best to get it right in the centre. So I know that that bit there's the centre. Let's get this over. And the way I know this is the centre is I'm going to be judging the pattern on both sides. So you see the little flower that's coming off the edge there? That's what I'm lining it up with. Okay, so that little one there. In fact, what I might do is I might leave that little bit on there because it's going to be sitting on the Poppy Parade, the red. I just cut that up to there. Okay, so it's coming over the edge there a bit, but I think it might look, I'll check it before I actually stick it down, but I think it might look quite nice. Okay, so let me just explain to you exactly what I'm doing here. Where I'm cutting this off, it's where that curvy bit is coming off of the edge here, I'm cutting just up to where it's changing directions. Okay, so I've got that little bit coming over. And what I think is going to happen, if I can get my card back again, as I pop that in there, this might look rubbish, or it might look lovely. There we go, I think that looks alright, don't you? Carries on with the pattern, not coming off the edge of the thing there, not, is that going into the fold? Possibly. In which case what I'm going to do, if I can see my little paper snips, which I don't think I got out because I didn't think I was going to need them. But what I'm going to do is on this one, this side, I'm just going to cut a little bit off because I quite like this idea. Just make it a little bit rounded. And then nobody will ever know. There we go. I think that's all right. Come on. Yep, that's good. Right, so yep, let's do the top end first. I was just thinking, I wonder whether it would be easier to do the bottom first. But no, I don't think so. Because at least this way I can pop it down like that easily. Right, let's go up a bit. I think that's right. And the last thing is the sentiment. Oh yeah, I also want to use some little diamantes on here as well. Okay. Now if you find that some of your glue has oozed out here, which I can, just use your embossing buddy just to give it a little tap over. I wouldn't want to use my adhesive eraser on this. It's too delicate. But that's quite nice as it comes over, methinks. Right, so where's my birthday wishes? I'm just going to cut this out, leaving a little band of white around the edge. I think that cherry cobbler has worked surprisingly well. I mean, it's not the same shade red as Poppy Parade, but it's certainly a red that blends in with it. go. Just make sure you don't have any sharp sticky out bits. There's another one there. Yep, that's good. I'm just going to put some dimensionals on that, and I'm going to use the mini dimensionals. I'll have one top and bottom on both sides, and I'll have two going across there as well. I'll bring the red up to the camera so that you can see what you think of it. Right, there's my birthday wishes. No. Oops, my tweezers got stuck. I tried doing this without holding on to the actual dimensionals. There we go, that's better. And now the next bit, I'm not sure whether they're going to work or not, it might be too bright. These are the red dimensionals. I think they are going to be too bright. Yes, no, don't like that at all. So I'm going to use pearls on here then. The pearls carry through the red and white theme. And then I always put two on the scrolls. Could have used bigger ones there, but never mind. So there we go. That's today's card. Let me show you the red. Not the same red by a long chalk, but I think it's okay. So there we go. I hope you liked today's card. I'm really pleased with the design. Is that wonky? Never mind. Yes, so let's see. If you have any questions, please put them in the box below the video. I'm always happy to help you. If you'd like to purchase any of the goodies that I've used here today, please click on the link for the box, open the box below, and there'll be a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop in there. If you've enjoyed my video and you would like to be notified each time I upload a new one, which is normally Wednesdays and Sundays, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And very quickly, during July, Stampin' Up have two promotions, and I have one of my own. My one is that everybody who shops in my online shop and places an order of £70 or not, I'm going to be sending them one of these, what I'm calling a Cardstock Colour Sample Pack. There's one sheet in here of every colour of cardstock that we have, and they're all labelled, and I'm going to be sending one of those as a free gift to everybody who shops in my store during July. Two offers from Stampin' Up. One is if you would like to join as a Stampin' Up demonstrator, as well as the £130 worth of, £130 or €175 worth of free products. You can also choose one family of the ink pads, and for the purpose of this promotion, the two in colour families are being classed as one family, so if you chose that one you'd get those 10 pads. You could choose that whichever family you'd like as an extra, so you'd be getting £193 for your £99 a fee for your starter kit. If you'd like to know more, please email me at jambi@jambicars.com. And the other special offer from Stampin' Up is if you buy 3 packs of out of a list of designer series paper, you buy 3 and you can choose a 4th one free. Now whether you choose 4 different ones for the same, entirely up to you, but buy 3, get a 4th one free. Great month for shopping with me this month. Or if you'd like to join my team, I would love to have you on board. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.